What we're going to be talking about in this conversation is some of the stuff that we've been up to, because we have a lot of cool stories and a lot of interesting experiences that we thought would be really good for our conversations.
That's right. We started by going on a trip to Colombia, and we stayed with a friend of yours that you had a language exchange with and his family, which allowed us to get really deep into the culture of what Colombia is all about. Yeah,
it was pretty cool, actually. My friend Hugo, I don't know how long we had been talking, over a year, I would say. We had a Spanish-English exchange, and it developed more into a friendship with him than an actual language exchange. We just kind of, Spanish and English speakers, we say we Spanglish together. So part English, part Spanish. And as long as we're communicating with each other, it's just a fun conversation. So we actually had the opportunity to stay in his house with his family.
Yeah.
And later, in a family friend of theirs, we stayed at his house for a couple of weeks.
That's true.
But why were we in Colombia at that time of the year? Like, we arrived in January, so why were we there?
We were there. They have a huge event. Actually, it's the world's second largest carnival.
Of course, the most famous and well-known one is in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro.
That's right. The biggest carnival is in Rio de Janeiro, but we went to Barranquilla in the north coast of Colombia. It's a city in the north coast of Colombia, and they've got the world's second largest carnival next to Rio de Janeiro's carnival. And we wanted to arrive a couple weeks early, right?
Yeah, we wanted to arrive early so that we could get to know the city a little bit and just hang out with Hugo, our friend. And I mean, we knew that if we had somebody that was from that area, we were going to have a completely different experience than we would have had just as tourists visiting the city.
That's true.
Now, Barranquilla isn't a very touristic place.
No.
Like, there's some museums and, it's on the ocean, but it's not known for its beautiful beaches and stuff like that. But if you had to say what drives Barranquilla, what would you say?
I would say music.
Yeah, it's
music.
Everywhere.
Oh, all sorts of music, too. There's the Latin musics, like salsa, bachata, merengue, they just go on and on and on, but you hear it everywhere. You hear music everywhere, and it's just vibrant.
It is. And I mean, there's always a neighbor playing music really loud. So I'd probably describe, it might be a stereotype, but I would say Colombians are typically loud people. But, no, we had some really cool experiences. It was actually just, the day-to-day living, or the things that local people do for entertainment.
Yeah.
So, for example, we had the opportunity to hang out with some of Hugo's friends. We went and we watched a movie together.
Yeah.
We went and had pizza and drinks. Remember that night after the movie, and we all had to pack into the car. And
there was this compact car, and how many people there was?
Oh my God. The two girls were in the front.
2 girls, Hugo, Gustavo, and me and you.
In the back seat, where there's 3 very, very small seats, we had 4 people. I think Gustavo was like on Hugo's lap. But anyway, what they wanted to do is they really wanted to show us this typical food, the arepa, which is like this corn tortilla thing that has an egg inside.
Yeah.
And we had to go to this particular place. So it was better for us to all get into this one car and drive so that we could go have this food. But yeah, shenanigans like that just, they just don't happen on a typical vacation. You maybe go to a museum or you go to a beach, you spend a few hours there, and then you go back to your hotel or wherever you're staying.
I really enjoyed it because it was cultural.
It was.
It really felt like I was part of the Colombian culture.
Yeah, and we had friends and they really liked us, and despite a language barrier, we did our best to communicate with them, and it was just different. But we actually had one situation that was really cool, and that was that we got to practice and learn how to do cumbia with one of the groups that was practicing for Carnival, for their performance.
Yeah, they had a band that had a drummer and with a big, huge drum too.
Like a bass drum.
Yeah, and a guy that played the flute, and they invited us to try this choreography, I guess you could say. Yeah,
like it's based around the traditional cumbia dance, but they have like a routine that they're practicing for the parades. So anyway, they invited us in, and they actually asked us if we wanted to participate in the Carnival parade.
Yeah.
And we were really excited about that. And, we went to a few practices and we were dancing in the house, trying to learn because we only had a couple weeks.
Yeah, we were really excited. What an opportunity, right? Like,
yeah.
It was exciting. What an honor.
It was. We're talking about it like we didn't do it because we didn't. So what happened?
Well, we were invited to participate in one parade. And then they told us it was going to be 5.
Yeah, all the parades. And we had already bought our ticket for the parades, and we really, really wanted to see them. So this was something that was a really difficult decision for us because, we had literally been told that it was an honor to be invited to participate with this group. Like there had never been Canadians invited to participate with them.
Yeah.
And we had to turn it down because it really didn't jive with our plans and how we wanted to experience it. One parade would have been cool, but 5 parades was just like
a little bit too much.
That was a full commitment.
Yes.
And we wanted to be spectators of the parade and enjoy the festivities and really have that experience as well. So anyway, we kind of blamed it on the hot climate because we're from Canada. Everyone's like, oh, it's cold in Canada, right? And it's the truth. It was hot there, and we probably would have died if we danced in the sun for 4 hours straight in the blazing hot sun.
That's true. Some of those parades were during the hottest part of the day too, or were going to be during the hottest part.
Yeah, we would have, I don't know. We wouldn't have been up for the festivities that happen in the evening time.
That's true.
So what happens at night?
What happens at night is street parties where people throw cornstarch, water, beer, foam, whatever they can get their hands on. They're spraying each other and just...
But it's not in a malicious way.
No.
They're doing it for fun.
They're joking around. They're having a good time.
Yeah, some people don't think it's funny, but if you're in the spirit, who thinks it's fun to get, foam sprayed all over their head or something? But, it's just part of the carnival and it's just to laugh. You just, basically get your revenge by doing the same thing to somebody else. But yeah, so anyway, we had a really, really great time in Carnival. One of the highlights for me was being invited to a block party that they had.
Yeah.
Where they had this insanely noisy speaker system.
Yeah.
They're called pickups.
Yeah, where a DJ plays through this huge speaker
that you can hear for blocks. It's like a concert level noise. I can't describe
Wow.
it. But anyway, throughout the night, more and more people come and they're all dancing and hanging out, and there's some street vendors selling food, and
Yeah, by the end of the night, the street was packed.
it was packed. There was probably 300 or 400 people. So some of these experiences were really cool. And as tourists, I don't think that we ever would have got to have them.
No.
But the later part of the vacation, we decided to explore some other areas the last month. We went to Santa Marta, and we only went to Cartagena for one day. I wish we would have spent more time there. But we had a place rented in Santa Marta, so we just decided to spend the last 3 weeks, I would say, at the beach, just enjoying, I don't know, the sunsets and the sand, and having a beautiful apartment really close to the beach.
So something I would like to ask you right now that our podcast listeners would probably be interested in hearing is, after 3 months of being in a full Spanish immersion situation, what sort of impact did that have on your language learning?
Well, this is the part that's kind of interesting. Okay, so I would say that I had full immersion for a month, because when we were staying at Hugo's place and then later at Arturo's place, we definitely had full immersion. We were talking to people all day and all night in Spanish. What I found happened was the words and the grammar that I already knew, I learned how to use. But, as for getting better and learning more than I had learned prior to my trip, I don't think that happened. I realized when I got back home to Canada that I really should have been inputting a little bit more information, maybe reading or studying or doing some extra exposure outside of the time where I was out talking to people to really get the most benefit and the most learning. For me, anyway, I don't know how long I would have to be immersed in that situation to learn fluency, but it definitely wasn't in a 3-month period of time in another country. So, it's a bit of a reality check. Some people may have different experiences and they may learn better, but for me, that definitely wasn't the case.
That was a great conversation, and we hope you learned a lot. Our conversations are a great way to improve your listening and to learn the vocabulary and phrases native speakers use in real everyday life. If improving your skills and improving your fluency are a top goal of yours right now, we would love to help you with this. When you're working with one of our teachers, we personalize every lesson to your specific needs and goals. Whether you need English for your job or profession, or you are living abroad in the US or Canada where English is part of your everyday life, we have the lessons that can help you to speak with more fluency, use better vocabulary, and to feel more confident every time you communicate in English. The best way to get started is to book a trial lesson. You can find the link to your first trial lesson in the description area of this podcast.